Welcome back to Two Douchey Guys. Another beer review. What do we got this time?
Today we have Birra Etrusca from Dogfish Head. It's part of their Ancient Ale series.
Love that series.
Yeah. They've done, what are they doing? They've done Theobroma. They've done Midas Touch. The two that we've had, I think.
I think we've had more than that, but yeah, they're always awesome. I also like the concept. I love what they're doing with that. You know,
if you're new and you don't know what the Ancient series or Ancient Ale series is about, what they do is they take ancient clay vessels, generally is what they are, that they find in like Egypt or in any of the ancient worlds. They bring it to science labs, and then they do scans to find out analysis, find out what's in this clay that the vessels would have held. Now, what ingredients make up the liquid that was in there? Yeah, and then Dogfish Head does a modern interpretation as best they can about what the beer or ale would have been like 5,000 years ago, however long ago it was.
Say, for example, on the what was the Egyptian one they did? It wasn't Midas, was it? But anyway, they went to Egypt and they collected wild yeast spores to incorporate into this, and I think they used another yeast as well, but they go to some tremendous lengths to nail down what beers might have been. You know, everybody thinks that, well, granted, the last 40, 50 years in the U.S. we've had some pretty boring beer, so people just assume beer was always boring, and it wasn't, and that's what they're proving with this. There's some astounding
Dogfish Head wasn't like the pioneer in craft beer, but they were the pioneer in going outside of kind of like the Reinheitsgebot, which is the German purity law that beer can only consist of the 4 main ingredients. Dogfish Head kind of was like, no.
Yeah, you're talking that's been around for a few hundred years, whereas beer making's been around for over 10,000 years. It built civilization.
The oldest beverage other than water.
The safest beverage.
Well, yeah, back then it was the safest. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of ingredients in this. If you want to check out all of them, go to Dogfish Head's website. It does have like pomegranate juice, pomegranates, some wheat that they've got, special wheat. Obviously, it's not just like American.
Yeah, it was heirloom wheat.
Yeah, heirloom wheat.
Which I firmly support all the heirloom.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff. But let's quit talking about it.
Let's break it open. And just to say that Dogfish is always a good product. I mean,
never had one that didn't.
Yeah, top-notch brewery, start to finish.
They are actually, it's not the first craft beer that I ever had, but Dogfish Head is the first one because it didn't used to be available in Indiana. It's the first one that I've went out of state for.
Yes, he did.
Well worth it, by the way.
Now, a few things that are immediately hitting me on this is, number one, the clarity. Number two, the carbonation looks to be rather high on this one.
Now, what we're going to classify this one as when we do the review is going to be a fruit beer. That's generally what theirs is classified as when they throw weird stuff in there, because there aren't any other real ancient ales for a style. So fruit beer is what we're going to do. And that style is very wide. So anyway, appearance on this one, almost kind of like an amber ale with like hints of like if you would drop some maybe grape juice or something in there. Just a real kind of mellow color. Normally the other ancient ales that I've seen are much lighter.
It's almost a brown. It's not just a gold or orange. It's almost a brown.
Yeah, the clarity is nice. The carbonation, like you said, was pretty high. And not to take a shot, but like if you ever pour like Bud Light or something into a glass and you get that high carbonation, or like a Pepsi for instance, which is better, you get that high popping carbonation sound. That's what we got from this one. So all of the carbonation's pretty much gone. You do get a little bit of bubbles around the edge, but let's get
head's gone too.
Yeah, let's get a smell.
All right, let's do that.
It's interesting. You get light fruit smell from this. You do get a little bit of the pomegranate that comes through, but I'm getting a lot of like cereal grain smell from this. Kind of like almost like a Pilsner malt kind of smell, but yeah, you get the pomegranate juice, which is kind of faint. You get the cereal grain type smell that you normally would.
It's got a little bit of that overripe tomato scent that I don't dislike.
Yeah, it definitely
it's just a descriptor.
Yeah, it definitely smells like they use a type of Belgian yeast in there.
Yeah,
You got
I
a little
would
bit of the
agree.
banana you
Yeah.
want, but it's not very prevalent. But let's get a taste.
Yeah, let's do it. I taste that too.
Yeah.
The Belgian-y.
You definitely get that Belgian type of flavor, which is
Ooh.
a play on the yeast, which you get like a sugary banana clove type flavor. You do get a lot of the juice in this one, a lot of the pomegranate juice up front, which actually creates kind of a slight bitterness, but it's not like a hot bitterness. It's more like a sour type of juice bitterness on the front of the tongue. At the back, though, I'm getting all cereal grain, tons of like a wheat flavor, like a pilsnery flavor, but just tons of bready, malty grains at the back.
There's something though, man. It's almost peppery, and I mean, it's almost like a spice, black pepper almost. But I mean, there's no heat to it, but there's something. You get washed with that fruity, light flavor, crisp, and then all of a sudden something just drops down on your palate, and it
Yeah,
takes over, but it's not overwhelming.
yeah. Basically, at the front of the mouth, for me, it's all kind of like a wine type of flavor. You get a little bit of that alcohol burn, but I don't even think it's high in alcohol. I didn't check, but yeah, it's almost like that fruity, acidity, alcohol type flavor at the front. But then in the last third of the palate, it's all the bready, grainy type flavors that you get from like a regular, not a big 3 macro type pilsner, but like a good pilsner, like a Prima Pils or something from Victory. It's all bready malt, and it's crazy the transition, and then just the sheer drop off.
Absolutely. And I don't know, maybe it's the hazelnut. I don't know if it's myrrh or what it is, but it's almost it's gotta be the myrrh. It's gotta be.
Well, the wheat flavor you get, it's overwhelmingly prevalent in the bag.
I'm getting something spicy though, and it's gotta be the myrrh. You think about, okay, some of those cheap ass incense sticks. There's a smell taste that I'm getting. It's gotta be that. Wow, now that I've nailed down what that reminds me of, that's intense and interesting.
Did you check the alcohol on this, by the way? Yeah.
Not really detecting
the alcohol
much.
is 8.5%.
I'm
So
surprised,
it's a little
actually.
higher than I thought it was going to be, which isn't a bad thing. So we said we're going to narrow this to a fruit beer style. Now
That's kind of hard to rate.
Yeah, a fruit beer is if you use like fruits in it, like apricots or plums or something like that. It's not like a terrible fruit type of thing, kind of like what a nasty Radler or like a terrible summer shandy would be. It's not artificial. So
Right.
Based on that, what are you going to give this one?
I think this one's tough to categorize. It's so tough to call it a fruit beer and then rate it. Man, that's complex by itself. But I'm gonna. That's so hard because I don't know what to judge this against. Okay, if I were to give, I would give this a 10 because it's, man, there's so much happening. I really, really am impressed with this.
I say, and again, the first part of the rating is only style, so yeah, I'll go ahead and give this one a 10 as well. I haven't had any classification fruit beers that I think are better than this. I think one of the, for example, of a more widely available beer, that would be something from Magic Hat. I want to say it's maybe their number 9. I obviously could be wrong, but that I think is classified in the fruit beer characteristic. And yeah, I will say I think I like the Theobroma more than this
definitely
one.
do.
Again, from Dogfish, go to their website, check it out. But
that is a gorgeous beer.
yeah, but yeah, 10 on style for this one, for a fruit/vegetable beer. That's just the category that it's in.
I'm
But
just giving it a 10 because it's great.
yeah, and overall,
I'll stick with a 10. You know, I'm gonna stick with a 10 because it's not something I'm necessarily gonna drink a lot of. It's not necessarily anything, you know, but I'm just impressed with this. I am impressed with the flavors they're coaxing out and the way it changes. Like you said, you know, up front all this, and then all of a sudden, bam, you get kicked down in a whole different, you know, different gear there, and you just taste some massive things. I really like this beer. I'm gonna give it a 10.
I'll drop it down. I'm gonna drop it down to a 9. While it is complex, I don't feel that the flow is there. I feel it hits a wall almost from the front of the mouth to the back in the exchange from straight fruity, winey characteristics to wheat, pilsner type malt flavor at the back. That would be, I think, almost the only detractor that I would have. And again, it is a wide category, so there's not necessarily a ton to put it up against. Yeah, it is a complex beer, although I would like the complexity to be fluid in the transition.
I disagree. This was almost like, I don't know if you've ever seen that internet video where they have the iodized water, you know, and they're pouring it, and all of a sudden it just turns black.
Yeah.
That's what I get. I mean, it's like you're tasting this, and all of a sudden, 90-degree turn, bam, totally different beer, totally different flavors. Really impressed with that. I like that about it.
So again, it is part of their Ancient Ale series from Dogfish Head. This one is their Birra Etrusca. Could have butchered the name, whatever. Go to their website, look at it. Also, like, subscribe, watch
Yeah, tell your
our
friends.
channel, 2DG, douchey guys.
Have a good drinking week.